Where there are some dispute, where there are some crises, and in the worst cases even some conflict, Turkey is trying to present itself as the broker who could find a solution. Of course, it is not the only actor who is trying to do that. Even the Gulf monarchies like UAE and Qatar are trying to do the same, and they are doing with more economic investment. Turkey does not use economic investment. Turkey uses mainly a sort of soft power. This soft power is related to the history, the culture, the educational sector, and even, of course, in some Muslim majority country, the religious sector. That doesn't mean that Turkey is able to reach and find solution to crisis and dispute, but what is important for Turkey nowadays is to present itself worldwide as a potential mediator of conflict and as an active player in crisis scenario. So one of the key points of Turkey's approach is to be able to keep open channels with all the players, with all the stakeholders, not only the ruling parties or the government, but even some opposition and movement or rebel groups. Why? Because he'd want to present itself as a stabilizing actor. And in order to stabilize, to favor in some way development, stability, they know that they have to create a stable scenario, a stable environment. Turkey has no colonial past, for example, so this is an aspect that Turkey stresses a lot when it establishes relations with African states. But at the same time, Turkey is trying to present itself different to other emerging actors, specifically the most important one, that is China, because we know that around China involvement in Africa there are many speculation and comments about neo-imperialism or neo-colonialism. Turkey doesn't want to be present as such. Turkey wants to present itself as an opportunity for African people and African states from economic point of view and even from humanitarian and political point of view. I think that many of the point of concern, not only from the African perspective, but globally speaking, is related to the way in which Europeans, but I would say also Western countries, approaching them. And there's problems related to the ambivalence of European countries, the problems related to the double standard, all these kinds of problems, the conditionalities. Turkey does not have any of these things because bad or good ideas, Turkey is consistent. They never try to promote something different. They never try to impose or persuade to promote something different. Never. So in some way it is coherent with its own approach. And in terms of agreement, in terms of trade, in terms of even of development, for example, Turkey just offers an alternative. And this way to approach, it's payback. It's payback nowadays. Because in some way foster the idea to African states that they are following their own path and not the path decided by someone else. Doesn't matter if the West or China. So I think this is the most important aspect, and it is not a pragmatic one, but it's mainly a psychological one that Turkey is offering nowadays to African states.